Bungie, Marathon, they're fucked. They're screwed. Listen, I believe, honestly, I think at this point, I think Sony's fucking with them just so that they can go ahead and do that full takeover. Remember part of the contract?
Yes.
They have to do a certain thing or whatever. And they probably are just waiting for Marathon to come out and fail so that they can be like, look what you did.
Oopsies.
You're ours now. And then fire everybody.
What's left of it. Yeah, at this point, I mean, do they have to pay them? Aren't they like, they didn't completely pay Bungie, right?
No, the people got their money.
Okay.
The dudes are living the best life. They don't care what happens.
Listen, sometimes
but
you win, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So let's start with this one here. Jez puts an article, quote, Bungie leadership needs to be gutted completely. That's not a good that's not a good sign for them. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Jez's article. Oh, actually, it's from Brendan Lowry. So Bungie leadership needs to be gutted completely. Former Marathon dev says Bungie was, quote, extremely toxic and humiliating to work with days after the art theft controversy.
Damn.
Things are seemingly going from bad to worse with Bungie and Marathon. Man, these ads are wild. They're literally taking up like most of this screen. Okay, there we go. All right, so the upcoming 2025 extraction shooter Marathon has been all over the news recently, and not for many good reasons. Though its official gameplay reveal in April was received decently, it and its developer, Destiny 2 creator Bungie, have since been marred in multiple controversies. Now, a former developer has spoken out against what they feel is troublesome leadership at the studio. The comments came from a Blue Sky user named Spirited, who formerly worked at Bungie on both Destiny 2 and Marathon as an online services engineer. As a former Bungie employee who worked on Marathon, I feel for those still at the studio. They wrote in a now deleted post, oh shit, working with engineering/Marathon leadership was extremely toxic and humiliating. I won't speak about the rest, but Bungie leadership needs to be gutted completely. So it's probably deleted because whoever he works for now was like, the fuck you are going to say shit like that out here in these streets. And it's probably going to fuck him over from getting new jobs because people are going to be like, oh, you're just going to air the dirty laundry out, right? That's why it's cool for us to see it, but bad move on his part for sure. Okay. Spirited also commented, this post has also been deleted, on the developers' leadership last year after Bungie cut 220 employees. Every day was a fight for autonomy and trust. Every day was someone telling me I'm not allowed to speak on any issue or problem in a professional tone. Every day was someone telling me my industry experience didn't matter and that some failed CEO knows best as our sub-area lead. Damn.
Wow.
Some failed CEO. Shit. Well, it's a scathing sentiment that comes just days after Bungie found itself in the middle of an art theft scandal in which the developer admitted a former employee stole and used artwork from an artist's 2017 poster designs while developing Marathon. The company said in response that it was committed to doing right by the artist. All right, so let's skip that. All right, so we got some more pieces, but this is just piece number one. Okay, so former Marathon dev says leadership needs to be gutted completely at Bungie. Extremely toxic and humiliating to work there. That's pretty crazy.
It is, and you also imagine that, right? That, you know, this was the situation behind closed doors. So doesn't necessarily comes as a shocker. It sucks.
I mean, it didn't look good from the beginning. And we had stories that we were dealing with before about Bungie, right? So this is just all like craziness that they think that this is going to be a success. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, blows my mind. All right, so we have the next thing here. Let me see if I can.
The crazy crap is that essentially, like, Bungie has been gutted already. So this is just what's left there. So if you take out more, what's left after that?
I mean, you know, they have to be like, they have to be in a position where they're seeing all this shit like burn around them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy, but this is the world that they're in, man. This is the world they're in. They dug this hole, getting in bed with PlayStation the way they did.
I think that was their only choice, though. They wanted the money.
Yeah, I mean, they knew they were going down, and they wanted to take Sony out with them.
At some point, like, you know, they did what they had to do. The higher ups, right, where the money really went to.
Agreed.
So
they're supposed to be getting movies and TV shows and all this kumbaya shit, and now it's just a fucking mess. And if you worked for any of the PlayStation studios prior, can you imagine your game getting canceled because of Bungie's advice?
You know they gotta be heated.
Yeah, especially like you've been there like 15, 20 years. You done shipped, 5 or 6, highly successful games at PlayStation. And these motherfuckers just come in and say, oh, nope, your game ain't good enough. Y'all don't know what y'all are doing.
That's real crazy. We do have the homie Hargeet Shani, our boy, in the building.
What's good?
15 months.
Thank you so much.
For support, my brother. Appreciate you. Looking forward to our trip to LA.
Yes.
The Xbox Fan Fest over there and all the other fun stuff happening. He says, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Oh, shit. Every mile brings more bad news for a game not too many were excited for to begin with.
Ooh.
Demo remix? DOA.
I would say so. I would say so. He's right.
Big facts.
Every mile brings...
Dude, the crazy part about it is that, yes, not many people were excited for it.
Yeah.
So this just kind of dug a deeper hole. Like, they were already in the hole. Right?
Yeah, they already were in a situation. And what does this mean now? We were thinking this could be as bad as Concord, but
clearly going to be worse.
Yeah, and I mean, Concord's nothing to brag about. But if this is what PlayStation was looking for to top their situation with Concord, I think they're doing really well.
It'll review worse than Concord, but it'll last more than 12 days. I'll bet that.
Because there are going to be, outside of this bubble, right? We got to remember this is still a bubble that not many people pay attention to. So the art theft, all this other shit, most people are never going to know about any of that who ultimately touched this game. You still got a lot of Bungie fans that exist. And it's going to go. It just depends on how far it'll go is the question. But I don't think they're going to shut it down anytime soon.
I think it'll go more than 12 days.
I get you. I can see that happening. Yeah. I can see that happening.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That'd be real crazy if they shut it down sooner. Can you imagine they break Concord's record? Like, nobody's playing that game and they just shut that bitch down. That would be hilarious.
10 days.
Oh my God. That would be crazy. We do have the homie Game Shark in the building with that $2 super chat. Appreciate it.
Yo.
Says Bungie leadership going to be looking for groups soon. Oh, shit.
Oh. Twinkle, twinkle, baby.
Twinkle, twinkle, baby. God damn.
They've been twinkled. Bungie has been twinkled.
Wow. That's real.
Damn.
That's real wild. And you do have our boy Raiden Blade.
Raiden Blade.
£5 super chat. Appreciate
Let's
your
go.
says,
Thank you so
when
much.
all the Bungie staff leaves, all Sony has is the name. The games designed by the company is a NA to the catalog of games created by them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. They're gonna take them in and get rid of a bunch of people, and it's gonna be a bloodbath.
It is.
And I think what we're learning is that Bungie was never an expert in live service. Let's just say Microsoft and Activision were experts in live service, and they just happened to be parts of those companies at the time that these games released.
The crazy shit is that Bungie was brought in to guide the ship.
Yeah,
it was.
Everyone thought they had to see. Everybody thought they had their secret sauce, but it was never them. I mean, that's what we're seeing. If it was, they
It's true.
I think we're clear on that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad for sure. So let's go to the next piece here. So I think this one actually sums up a lot of what's going on. This is Forbes. This is Paul Tassi. He has here new marathon info, Bungie morale, launch worries, and changing plans. So chaos has engulfed Bungie after an artist, Anti-Real, came forward to accuse Bungie of ripping off her 2017 work as its upcoming extraction shooter Marathon was starting to take shape as early as 2018. Damn. Bungie is still fucked up to here. Bungie admitted to the plagiarism, supposedly the work of one ex-artist, and promised to make things right. But the story gained traction among gaming outlets and reaction streamers alike, and it's poisoned the previous positive conversation about the aesthetic of the game. But all of this is happening after another not great time period for Marathon in the last few weeks, starting with the gameplay reveal and then its closed alpha, both of which received mostly mixed to negative feedback. A live stream on Friday addressed both the art plagiarism and alpha feedback in what ended up being the most uncomfortable on-camera offerings I've ever seen from the studio.
Yeah.
That shit was real.
Oh my gosh, your tweet was so funny with the guys from Brothers. Will Ferrell.
Oh, digging
the grave.
Yeah, you literally, it looked like you were watching them be buried alive.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like you were watching. It was real wild.
Yeah.
So it continues. I've spoken to some current and former employees about Bungie's excuse for the art theft, studio morale, and the possibility of a delay, and some very real changes when it comes to the upcoming presentation and playtesting of the game. Here's what I've learned. The public explanation for the art theft, one ex-employee taking things in 2020, is the same one being given internally at Bungie among the rank and file. Sony and Bungie legal are now sorting through this, and there is unlikely to be any much new information as all of this continues to unfold. It is not clear how long an audit will take of the assets to remove or find any more plagiarism, as it's an expansive enough process to have Bungie not even show any footage at all in its recent live stream. Damn, I didn't even realize that. Like, it's so bad, they don't even know if any part of their game doesn't have plagiarism in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't just the images, it was the coding of her art style that was apparently stolen as well. So basically like the whole game may be based on her art style without her, consent. So
yeah, and they try to like simplify, like, oh, we just, some markings on buildings, and like as if it wasn't, throughout the game. We're looking at a game. Honestly, guys, they shouldn't release this game. This game should not come out.
No.
This game should not release. People were out there saying it needs like years of work. It's not up to par. People are not excited for it. The people that played it are, suggesting that they hold off. I don't think that much is going to change if they go ahead and, other than PlayStation wasting money, nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to make this game better. And to top all of that, we find out that the art and the music were stolen. I think they need to scratch this off and take it as an L and use this as an excuse because, you know, we weren't aware of what was going on, right? And the art and the music belong to someone else. We're just going to go ahead and take a step back and hold off and then just never release the game. I think this game comes with more problems than not. I don't think this game is going to do well. Just drop it. And maybe with the game not releasing, they may not end up in which I think they're going to get out of, though, a big lawsuit. I wish they didn't. And, you know.
Yeah.
So if Marathon and Fair Games never see the light of day, what does that mean for PlayStation going forward? How does Sony look at that and say, yeah, continue making first party games?
That's the point.
I'm just saying Xbox would be cooked if any of their studios were out here stealing art and music.
But
that would be insane. So I think so should PlayStation.
All right, so we're talking what, 6-7 years, 12 games. How much money that's like $300 million per game on average. So you're talking about $3.6 billion on top of the $3.6 billion you spent to purchase Bungie, on top of the money you spent to acquire Firewalk and Fire Sprite, and oh my gosh,
and no revenue, just money going out.
More people than Jim Ryan need to be fired.
Yes, absolutely.
Facts.
And you know, this brings us back to your point earlier, Farrell. Are they just doing this to make it seem like they're spending money? We're hearing about games canceled that we haven't even seen or we didn't even hear about, right? So what's going on here? Are they really losing all this money, or
it sounds crazy, but I can see Hiroki being fired because somebody approved all these purchases.
Which of purchases?
The purchases of Bungie and Firewalk and Fire Sprite.
But guys like that won't get fired because they're not going. There's no guarantee, so they're going based off of the leadership that they put in place.
It's
Herman. Herman got to take the bullet.
Yeah,
I can see a lot of people going, but somebody approved these purchases. Somebody approved these gaming budgets, and they got to go too. It can't all fall on Jim Ryan, because
exactly. Poor Jimmy Jim.
This shit's still rolling downhill, and it doesn't like it stopping anytime soon. I mean, they let go of Connie Booth. There's no more people to blame. So you got rid of Yoshida. At some point, you got something drastic has to change at PlayStation leadership right now, because it's all looking very messy. All we got is Soros and Intergalactic that we know about, and Wolverine, and all three of them games look like they're going to be issues for Sony in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So,
facts.
Wolverine might do great in sales, but it's a Disney game, and it's taking way longer to develop than they anticipated.
And remember, that game, we already had the rumors that game is only a 6-month exclusive.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It better be only 6 months.
That might be the first game to kind of break the exclusive situation.
I don't think they can afford to only keep it on PlayStation at this point, with as long as it's taken to develop and the license. I mean, Wolverine's not a cheap license either. So
no,
yeah,
he's right. He's right up there with Spider-Man.
They want their money.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it continues over here. It says morale is in free fall across all departments. You don't say.
I know.
The vibes have never been worse. Oh, see, this is the problem. Everyone has the same concerns about what happens to Bungie as a studio if Marathon bombs, which is something they absolutely cannot afford. You know, it's funny because you think of Destiny, right? And you go to something like, you know, Steam and see like, oh, that there's a lot of people playing it.
Yeah.
Right. But like, yeah, a lot of people bought it. Right. People still playing it doesn't mean that those people are all spending money in the game.
No.
Right. Or doing anything that brings them more money. Just a bunch of people playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And for a game that's ongoing, they need ongoing revenue from the game. And I mean, I don't know if I missed it. I have it here still. I'm going to go back and check real fast. So I can tell you that in April, Destiny 2 was not in the top 20 list. And I can tell you that for the year, Destiny 2 is not in the top 20 list.
Yeah, nobody's buying the game anymore.
So nobody's buying that game, right? So unfortunately, unless there's a massive amount of people who are doing microtransactions, which what this sounds like is that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because if Destiny was killing it,
they wouldn't be dropping.
They wouldn't be worried about what's going to happen to Bungie.
Yeah, they wouldn't be dropping Destiny like it's also coming.
Yeah, they might be worried about the Marathon team, but they wouldn't
Bungie
be worried about Bungie. So the fact that they say they have the same concerns about what happens to Bungie as a studio if Marathon bombs, which is something they absolutely cannot afford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking deal, man.
It is.
What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? You think these people who now have to scratch out all this art for Marathon and delete it all,
stolen art,
and come up with a new aesthetic?
If they could not come up with it on their own to begin with, when they were kind of free balling, right? What is going to happen now under pressure?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if Marathon bombs, they can't just pay someone else to make Destiny 3 and people are going to care about it because it just has the Destiny 3 logo slapped on it.
No.
Nope. Destiny will be dead.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? This is the real crazy part. Destiny as a game literally takes itself out of the equation because none of the legacy content stays.
Yeah. That's another issue.
Always delete what's happening and you're always forcing the newest thing. So it's not like this shit can just live on and people have access to all this shit that will keep them going.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even Bungie doesn't have access to the data anymore. They completely wipe it. Because I saw someone with one of the lawsuits that they have against them was they stole someone's story and they didn't have the file anymore. So they delete their own stuff. So yeah, it's like once the content's dead, it's dead. It's not coming back. So
what a bummer.
Yeah. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Yeah. It will be sadly what looks like the last of Bungie. If they don't hit.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the other game that Naughty Dog's working on.
Yeah, the last of Bungie.
I think that works. The last of Bungie,
them.
The last of them. I think that hits right.
Yeah.
I think that hits right.
Yeah. I would want to see that.
Facts. So it continues. There are not even hints or jokes about a delay from the September release date internally. With that said, it is entirely possible, if not likely, those conversations are happening privately between higher up Sony and Bungie leadership. It's unclear what the plan is to launch the game in a now actively hostile environment just a few months from now, or how to turn that around. There is no turning that around. Even if you hire that bitch, even if you hire the artist and say, hey, let's go ahead and have you join the team and do the aesthetic, is not going to work.
I mean, even if she did the work, I mean, I think to like, even just to save face, right? And look, we brought her in. She's a part of the game now. I don't think is going to change the game's fate.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Too much was wrong with the game when they first showed it. And the PlayStation fan base just isn't strong enough to revive that type of game. Just aren't. They aren't going to support it enough. And the Destiny audience doesn't seem to care about it. So, you know, that's the biggest fuck up for them, because it's such a different type of game that the Destiny fan base, they don't give a fuck about it. They're not going to stop playing Destiny for it. No. And the problem is how many people are left to play Marathon.
Even if it were free, I don't think that they would take a step back and say, let me go play this trash instead.
Even if it's free, the issue is that the PlayStation gamers want to prove to Sony that they're wrong about going live service. So True. PlayStation fans are killing their own live service initiative. So they have to go outside of their fan base to, you know, make a successful live service game, and they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to find a new audience.
Listen, if shit comes back around, right? They said that that's not who they were targeting. It wasn't their own audience, right? Mm-hmm. You can't blame them when they don't show up.
Yeah, so
facts. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how this is going to shake out, because it doesn't look good. Now, some changes to future plans had been made even before this new plagiarism development, mainly as a reaction to gameplay footage and now the closed alpha. Mm-hmm. So they were already screwed from when they showed us the game and we saw it and nobody liked it, to now this plagiarism shit. So at the start of this month, Bungie pulled the plug on its main Marathon marketing plan, which was going to have a new trailer in June, along with launch of pre-orders. The whole campaign needs to be reworked now. A heavily marketed public beta in August may be changed into a roadmap of public playtests with no actual details set yet. This would align with Bungie's stated multiple opportunities to play before launch rather than just the upcoming beta. And then Marathon was originally pitched by higher up good old boy Bungie leadership. And as far back as 5 years ago, devs were telling them what would and wouldn't work and were often ignored. Many have said previously that it needed to have some sort of PvE component. So do you think this is going to save them? Pushing back the pre-orders, pushing back the beta, turning it to smaller play tests. Do you think they're going to be able to do a pivot?
Is that a joke?
No, I want to know what you think.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that, man, you will have to remake the game. PlayStation can't afford to do that. They can't. Now on top of it, with the stolen art and music, they have to mend that and make it right. And I think that we're all involved now, so we all need to know how that was fixed. And you know, how do you trust them moving forward? Honestly, the best thing that can happen is, again, for the game to not release and for Bungie to just freaking go away.
Just delete yourself, Bungie.
Just, hit the button. That's the only outcome I see. This is not the first time that they go ahead and steal content. So these are some of the times that we're aware of. Imagine how many times this happened that no one knows about or that they were able to cover up. So how do you trust them moving forward, even if you weren't interested in this particular game? If they made something else, then what? What is really original? If this is what you can come up with and it's stolen because you can't make something up on your own that is better, what is left of you? You are nothing and no one, and you need to know when to quit. If you've gotten to this point and this is the art that you steal, uninspiring, it's not impressive. So what can you do?
They would have to abandon the PlayStation community altogether, release the game into some type of early access on Steam, and work with the community over like several years to get the game right. That's like
that's not happening.
No, it's not. But that's their only hope.
But that's why you saw him say that if they're not even joking with the idea of delaying this game. You got to remember, there's 800 something people who work at Bungie.
Yeah.
Sony is paying those people every single month with not much return.
Yeah,
this
that's
game
why
has to come out. And they want it to come out because I honestly believe at this point, Sony seeing what it is, I think they want it to come out and they want it to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they want it because then they can get rid of Bungie.
They can drop that weight.
Yeah. But if you did the early access thing, you could sell a game for like $20, $30 and, you know, promise that when the full version of the game launches, you get the deluxe edition with, you know, a couple premium packs or whatever. And, you know, you can kind of work through the game that way. That's pretty much the only way they would save that game. That's like the only shot in the dark that they have. Other than that, the PlayStation community is not helping you save that game at all.
No,
they want it to die. Probably the leadership at Big Sony probably wants that game to die. They probably want to be done with Bungie. They probably want everything that has Jim Ryan's fingerprint on it like erased from the company at this point. Like they are pretty. It seems like they're very sour on him, and it seems like pretty soon they're going to be pretty sour on Herman Hulse. Especially if, you know, Ghost Ayote and Soros don't do the numbers that they're anticipating. Because we got to remember, Returnal was a major flop too, and they purchased that studio. The game, from what we last remember, it maybe barely crossed 1 million in sales. So
500,000 is what it was reported. So
that was before it went to PC though. So it may have, you know, done a little bit better, but yeah, so flop. So it's like, you know, you put all this money into Astrobot being the new mascot of the system. You drop Little Big Planet and flop. I mean, it's just everything is flopping, and you're remastering all these games and they're all flopping. You're putting these games on PC and they're having mixed success. So it's just, you know, heads got to roll. And it's not just at Bungie. Like, Bungie is probably the biggest problem that they have, but they have problems all across their first party.
Dude, it's their first party. They need to sell. They should just sell some of these studios to Xbox. The only ones that they can afford, them are Xbox. And you need to Sony needs to just back out of the first party game. They can't afford it. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have anything successful anymore. For them, they need it to be successful. It's not like Xbox where they divide and conquer, right? Some games have to be successful. Other games are just for the love of the game and keeping people going into Game Pass. This is the way. I feel like the real answer is they should just get out of the game. But like, I don't want Naughty Dog to just disappear.
But what's left of Naughty Dog, though?
Yeah, but
what's left of them? And Neil is planning to leave soon. So what is going to happen? They're going to be in a situation where they scoop up Naughty Dog and then Neil's like, all right, sayonara, I'm on my way out. Like, no, I think that is already a mess. What's left of Bungie, what's left of Naughty Dog, Insomniac, like, let's see what they gather up with Wolverine. But from what we've seen, I mean, it will take a miracle for this to just show up and look impressive. So, no.
And we still don't know how good Insomniac is because they have yet to make their own game, their own IP under PlayStation.
Creativity.
I mean, on the Xbox, they made Sunset Overdrive, but then that was phenomenal. But like, what are they going to do over there? I don't think they're ever gonna, bro. To be honest with you,
they haven't.
I think they've been relegated.
Relegated. Yeah,
relegated to Marvel. That's it. That's the life they lead.
So,
and that's why we had all those people who were leaving Insomniac like happy as fuck because they don't want to be on that fucking Marvel treadmill. You know what I'm saying? They want to get out. They want to make games creatively, not be stuck following this shit. Like, yeah, sure, the leads of those games are huge fans of those things, but the work people, the people who have to do all that shit, they don't necessarily give a shit about that. I do want to point out over here our boy Pragmatic Eagle.
Yo,
says,
thank you for rocking out.
So is organic destruction a thing over at Sony now?
Apparently.
I feel like that's I feel like you nailed it, bro.
I'm digging that.
Organic
destruction.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's a problem, but it's real. Let's finish this up here. By the way, real quick, do you think I feel like they were arguing with them about putting PvE, which is player versus the environment. So like teaming up and killing things out in these streets or whatever together outside of just the extraction part of it. I don't think that would have made a difference, to be honest with you.
I don't think so, because I think people are obviously, we see things, they draw us in. But I think visually it wasn't captivating enough to pull a big audience. So I'm not sure that adding to it, aside from more money spent, would have changed anything.
Agreed. All right. So finishing this up, the last little paragraph here says, all of this between necessary asset auditing, a reworked marketing campaign, and shifting playtest plans screams of a game that is not coming out in 4 months, or at the very least shouldn't be, though there are no indicators of that yet. However, at this point, it may be the case that another 3, 6, 12 months would not fix what ails the game.
Nope.
Which is more than just presentation and some playtesting, but for many, it's questionable core concept wrapped in extremely cool aesthetics. That's just you, bro. But now they've lost that last bit as a praise point as well. And that's it. Yeah, that last paragraph kind of wraps it up, right? Like a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month delay, that's not going to do shit for this game.
It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
People don't like the gameplay. It looks boring. There's nothing exciting that happens. Arc, immediately you can see how dope it looks graphically. Boom, right away. And then cool shit happening. Fucking monsters leaping, fucking building size to come get you. Like that's fire. Like it just looks so dope. And I'm not even into those type of games, but I played it for a little bit and really enjoyed myself. Yeah. So it's like, what can they do?
This isn't it. Right. And again, like I mentioned before, if you weren't inspired to begin with to go ahead and create your own things, what aside from taking out and patching up, what's going to be left of this game when whatever this person made, it's out. That content is out. What's left of it?
They stand a better.
I don't see it happening.
I say they stand a better chance of reviving Concord than making Marathon a success. Like Marathon, I mean, for everything that was wrong with Concord, it was further along than what this game is.
Bro, you strip out all the characters, put actual fun characters in there, make the gunplay more exciting, make the levels more exciting, and all of a sudden you got something that at least can compete.
Change the name.
Yeah.
Make it a PlayStation All-Star shooter where you have all the names of PlayStation people that people know, right? There's a chance that you can get somebody.
I agree with that, because at that point they're kind of not necessarily taking a risk or saying, okay, let's scratch off these characters and see what happens with the new ones that we make. If they bring in kind of like they did with Astrobot, right, where they had, an Astrobot version of these characters, if they bring their own characters, I think that will kind of maybe draw people in and make them want to play. That would be a good fix for Concord. But graphically, you know, even though it was also a letdown, it was still more appealing than what we're seeing with Marathon.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't. It just was half baked. It
wasn't great.
And it was going up against Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, and you know, it was just going up against a lot of heavy hitters at the time that it dropped, and it was half baked. Yeah. So you'd be better off just focusing on bringing that back than focusing on Marathon, because Marathon looks like
it's DOA, bro.
Yeah. It has too many issues.
Dude, you would literally have, like, no matter what, even if you delete the things, people are gonna be like, you still stole her look, you still stole her vibe. Give her the money, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how you cut it, they're stuck. They have to redo the whole thing.
They're trying to, like, kind of like behind the scenes, see how they can patch up the situation. Oh, we already reached out to her. I think this was very public. She was very vulnerable, and I feel like we need to go ahead and know how you fix this before we can get past it.
Yeah.
It became our issue now.
Agreed. Let me get the homie Hargeet chiming in.
Yo,
what's up, my dude? Thank you for being here, my brother. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says they should bring back Destruction All-Stars. The characters are all the studios PlayStation has destroyed. Oh, damn.
Damn.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
That, you know, that slaps them up a little bit, right? That's hurts.
A burn. Yeah.
That's a burn. That's something that makes them think
that was about as bad as Concord, but no one talks about it.
Facts. Yeah, nobody does talk about it. Destruction All-Stars. Nobody just
because they pre-ordered it for $70. Absolutely nobody pre-ordered it, so they pulled it from the store, gave it to you for free, and then it died anyway.
Where's Foam Stars?
Oh, wow! Now you're just being mean.
That interesting. That heavy hitter exclusive
banger.